Toronto-based author Terri Favro has never forgotten her St. Catharines roots. Her latest novel, Sputnik's Children, is set in a fictionalized version of the Garden City, and today she visits her alma mater, Laura Secord Secondary School, where she's hoping to inspire the next generation of writers.
On a very practical level, I hope that the students in the Writer's Craft class will come away with the sense that nobody writes anything once. One of the really brutal realities of writing anything, whether it's a story or a poem or a play or a novel, is that you end up writing many, many, many drafts. One of the things I discovered when I started preparing for this workshop is that when I was writing my book, Sputnik's Children, I wrote way more drafts than I actually realized I had. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I did 30 separate drafts of that book.
Throughout the novel, you refer to the setting as Shipman's Corners, which of course is the historic name of the city of St. Catharines. Shipco really seems to stand in for the St. Lawrence Seaway. Why, in every one of your pieces of writing, it seems that there's a St. Catharines connection?
I think this is a really unique part of the country. I think there are really unique stories that come out of this area, the north end of St. Catharines specifically, which, you know, in my day was almost completely post-war immigrants, and also post-war immigrants who were considered to be totally blunt, less desirable, and sort of lived in this one particular part of the city, which was not far from Laura Secord.
Much of Terri's writing deals with her experience growing up amongst the many European immigrants of the Facer Street neighborhood.
Ron Edding, my husband and creative partner, and I do comic books that are locally published that are all quite set in the Facer Street area. Again, like in some elemental way, the area has changed but hasn't changed, so I find that interesting. You know, I think there are a lot of writers who write about one place and they keep coming back to that place, or if they're not in that place, they keep coming back to characters from that place. So for example, Mordecai Richler with St. Urban Street, William Faulkner did this, and I find myself doing it. So I have 3 novels out now, and all of them, even though the third one is set in Toronto, all of them in one way or another loop back to this neighborhood and to people who come from it.
Terri is a full-time writer, finding time to work on her novels in between creating copy for advertising clients.
So it is tough to do that balance, but the way that I've done it up to this point is I've treated myself as my own client. So when I'm not working for a client, I'm writing for myself. That could mean that if I have a half hour during the day where I'm sitting waiting for copy revisions, I'm working on my novel. So I'm very disciplined that way. I write all the time. But now I'm trying to pull back a little bit on the copy and put more energy into writing books. I've got a 4th book coming out in New York City, actually, with an American publisher that's nonfiction, still has a St. Catharines connection, interestingly enough, that's about robots, believe it or not. And I'm hoping that I might make enough money from that book that it will enable me to maybe pull back on writing advertising and do more creative writing.
Any other ideas for future novels?
Yeah. I have a short story that was set in Niagara Falls, Queenston in 1899, steampunk story that was in a steampunk anthology 2 years ago called Clockwork Canada. The story is called Let's Slip the Sluice Gates of War, Hydro Girl, and I'm going to turn that into a novel with an Italian-Canadian Laura Secord as the heroine and a transgendered Sir Isaac Bryan. So that's the next thing.
Laura Secord students will be able to check out copies of Sputnik's Children, as well as Favro's just-released novel Once Upon a Time in West Toronto at their new Library Learning Commons. Reporting in St. Catharines for The Source on your TV, I'm Mike Balsom.